For the final part of this project, we are going to use watercolor paints to paint the background. I've got 3 types of watercolor sets. I'm not sure what you've got, but one of them is sparkly, one of them is metallic, and one is regular. Regular would be best, but because of our COVID restrictions and not being able to share things, you just kind of get what you get. So I apologize if you've got something you don't want, but just roll with it. It'll be fine. Any of them will work. I happen to have the metallic ones. So what I want to do first of all is I want to think about like the sky, what it's going to look like for each season. So up here I have my summer quarter of my tree. So I'm going to use this blue here and mix some water in it, but I'm going to come over here. Oh, that's kind of a really greenish blue. What if I rinse out my brush, get a little bit gray over here, just kind of blue gray, and kind of mix that in. I'm just going to kind of like mix it down, and then also I'm going to start painting it in my background, and I want to spread that out really good and pretty thin. The sky is not a dark blue color, it is a pretty light blue. You want to represent that in your painting. And just spread your paint out so it's not too watery. If it's too watery, it'll cause your paint to, or your paper to kind of crinkle up. So see how I use the lid over here to kind of mix my paint and water it down. So I got my summer sky here, and I can just go kind of over my tree even, so like the sky will kind of go through that. You can kind of see it through. So anyway, there's the summer sky. And then I need to come down here for the spring, and I can really use the same color of blue. So I'm going to just kind of take some of my blue here, put it over into the tray, rinse out my brush because I don't want to contaminate this silver over here. And I'm going to put maybe just a little bit more silver in it, and that looks still a little thick, and maybe a little bit more water. So I'm just going to do the same thing and paint that out. Then just spread it out all the way and go all the way from the top all the way down to the bottom, and try to paint it as even as you can so it's not so streaky. So I can get my paint here. I also don't want to forget these areas that are in between my branches. Don't leave those white, that would look weird. So, make a little bit more water, a little bit more paint, and just paint in that area. It's pretty easy. It's the final step. And I'm just kind of drying out. You can just water that out. All right, and then over in the winter sky, I am going to, because the sun angle changes in the sky each season, so in the winter time, I like to think it's a little bit more dreary. So I'm gonna use just a little bit more of this gray over here. And so mix some of these gray. Get it pretty watery. And I think what I'm gonna do on this one is I'm just gonna paint over everything on my sky, and I'll just come right down. So I'm not worried about going around my branches. I'm just, unless they're really big fat ones, just paint right over top of it. This paint is translucent, which means you can see through it, but it still has color, not completely transparent. And the cool thing about if you have this like metallic-y paint like I've got is for that winter sky, it'll kind of make it look like it's snowy. Sorry if it makes it look like it's snowing in the summer. Again, we're just restricted with whatever kinds of paint we've got. So if you've got glitter paint, I apologize, you're gonna have a glittery sky. If you have your own paints and you would rather use those, that is fine with me too. I will probably never know the difference. Now, one thing I did here is I left my tree kind of white in some areas, and that might give it the appearance of snow too. So by omitting paint, so like if you look right in there, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but that's what I've done. And I will also take a picture of this and leave it on the lesson plan. So when you see your lesson plan, when it's updated, it'll have an example of what this should look like. Make sure you paint the whole sky. Now on the regular type of paint, you've got that dark blue. It's really, really dark. So you want to make your paint lighter. You just need to add a lot more water to it and spread it out. All right, so there's my winter sky. And you can kind of tell, I don't know if you can tell on the video or not, but it should be a little bit more bluer over here and a little bit more gray over here. And I'm just going to use that gray color for my autumn sky too. Again, it might look like it's snowing in autumn, but you know, that just happened the other day where it snowed on October 26th. Today is October 29th. Maybe that was the 27th. Anyway, so that's how you do this background, and don't make it too hard on yourself, and do a good job so you don't ruin your perfectly good tree drawing. And when you're done, you just submit it to the Google Classroom, just like everything else, and then you will be all done, and voila, there is my multimedia tree. So anyway, have fun painting. When you're done, make sure you rinse out your brush. You can put if you're in the classroom, you could put your paints, actually just put them back in your cubby because you're gonna need them for another assignment. So anyway, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy.